Hi, good morning. This is Ubish from the Freedom Geek, and I'm very lucky to have Jennifer today. How are you, Jennifer?
Hi, yes, I'm really good. Thank you. How are you doing?
Pretty good here from Mexico, all the way over there to London, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So, yes, thank you so much for accepting this interview. So, basically, we're going to ask you a little bit of how has been your experience with the VAs, right? So, can you please start by telling us a little bit more about you and your business, please?
Yeah, of course. So my business is called Montem Property, and we're a property management and investment business based down in Devon, in the UK.
Okay, awesome. And what made you decide to hire a virtual assistant?
Well, I guess like quite a few people that are starting out in property, I've still got my day job. So it's quite tricky to keep the business running, still continue with the marketing, and there's a lot of other activities which need to be done in the daytime. So I hired a virtual assistant to help me with those activities so the business can still be running whilst I'm in the day job.
How long you have been working with your virtual assistant?
I've been working with her since September.
And did you felt a big change about working from someone that is not even in your country, maybe a different time zone? What was that?
um, to begin with, it was a little strange, but also because I've never been responsible for anybody else in the team. So that was a little bit challenging to begin with. In terms of the hours, it wasn't really a problem because she said she was happy to work until about 1 or 2 o'clock UK time in the afternoon. And I'm quite a morning person. So we've got quite a lot of time where we're able to communicate together. And
Okay.
also, to be honest, her English is fantastic. So it's really not a problem at all with the fact that she's not based here. So yeah, overall, it took a little time to adjust working together and to work out how it's best to communicate together. But yeah, it's going really well.
Now that you mentioned about the English part, I wanted to ask you what were your concerns besides the language about hiring a virtual assistant from the Philippines?
Oh, that's a good question. Some of my concerns. So yeah, obviously the language is one of them. Also, trusting somebody to work on the business. My VA specifically helps me quite a lot with social media. It was quite tricky to be confident enough to hand that over to somebody and to give her
Yeah.
access to my social media. She has access to actually a lot of other accounts as well. So having that
Mhm.
trust, which has taken some time. And also before, when I've wanted to try something new with the business, I would just get on and do it myself. Now I'm making a conscious effort to actually let her know what my plans are and how I see that would be working with her as well. And
Mhm.
also how I would teach somebody the systems that I've already got in place, that I thought that would be more tricky and more challenging than it was.
Sure. Another question that just popped into my mind. Do you think that the Freedom Geek process of hiring a virtual assistant give you enough trust to actually say, okay, yes, I'm going to let this person handle my online image?
It definitely helped a lot. I was really impressed with the whole system that was put in place. Everybody that was involved in that process, I thought they communicated really clearly. They had a high level of professionalism, which I think is really, really important. Very considerate of what I wanted to look for as well in a virtual assistant. So yeah, that definitely helped because there's no way that on my own I would have gone out with an advert and looked for a virtual assistant abroad. I wouldn't have done it on my own.
Great. How did you know about virtual assistants and why, besides that, you told me that you have your job, your formal job, and this your entrepreneur part? How did you knew about virtual assistants? Did somebody else told you? Did you research for help online? How was that?
It actually came from Tim Ferriss's book, The 4 Hour Work Week, which is where
Yeah.
I first started thinking about it, and it just got my cogs going. And then also on quite a few of the property groups that I'm on, they talk about virtual assistants and having additional help in the business.
Mhm.
So that's where I started to think about it. And initially I thought, oh, I don't need anybody to help me. Like, what could they help me with? Like, I'm
Yeah,
only, I'm just one person in a small business. Like, how could that help? I'm
that's
really
true.
glad that I did.
when we are solopreneurs, it can be a little bit challenging to sometimes even to actually be aware that an extra hand will be very helpful, right?
Definitely. And in fact, there's one document that I got sent from Freedom Geek, which has really helped me. And I got sent over a PDF of tasks. I think it was like 100 tasks that you can give to a VA that they could help you with. And that also really opened up my mind as to the other things that she's able to help with in the business and also personally.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Another question: what are your top tips for working with a virtual assistant? Like, should people consider to have something before ready to start to working to a VA?
Top tips. Okay. Well, the first, so having something ready, I think that's key. So I think you do need to think about what tasks would you like them to start with. So just think about something that you do regularly, like a task that you repeat fairly regularly, and how could you give them that task? Like it might be that you would need to do the task like on Zoom like this and record the screen and walk through the process of what you're doing, and then you can share that with them. It's a way of getting
Mhm.
started, but just pick something small that you're comfortable with sharing. That's what I would suggest. And top tips: communication is definitely number one. It's the most important thing. So having a regular weekly call, WhatsApping daily, that's really, really important, just to check in with them and make sure that they're happy with the work. One thing I found about the Filipino culture, that it can be harder for them to say if they're finding a task difficult. They
Mhm.
may carry on regardless. So it's really important to communicate and just check in with them that they're actually okay and they understand the task and they're happy with what you've given them. So yeah, communication would be the number one, especially, I mean, working with anybody virtually,
Yeah.
communication is really important. You know, we're not sitting next to each other, having a cup of coffee and chatting about something. So you've got to make a real effort. And the second tip I would say is to involve them with the business and include them in conversations about where you see the business going and where perhaps
Okay.
their role could be part of the business moving forward. My VA certainly, like, she's keen to work more in the business. She wants to work solely just with this company, and so
Mhm.
she wants to see how she can progress and how she can learn. So it is important just to keep them involved in what you're doing.
Yeah. That sounds great. I think it's a great tip that that you say that it's not only someone doing what you don't want to do, but part of your team, no? Like
Yes.
understands and also see where your project is going, right?
Yeah, definitely. And what I find that helps with as well is that I'm really lucky with my VA, and she's often like proactively thinking, because she knows where I want to go with the business. She's always
Yeah.
coming up with ideas and coming up with suggestions, and she wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't share the vision with her.
Yeah. That's true. That's amazing to hear, because I feel that even your project is expanding more to you. Like somebody understands your idea, your project, and also can give you another eye, no, another opinion on that. That's great. So, do you have any message for entrepreneurs that maybe are planning to go on this virtual assistant world?
Do it. Just do it. It's the number one. You won't regret it. And so many people who are entrepreneurs doing a day job, maybe you've got children doing a million things at once, you barely have time to breathe, and there's a lot of tasks you do that you can give to somebody else. Like, you need to be aware of what value your time is. So like, what is your hourly rate, if you like? And you need to be careful that you keep on track with the higher value tasks, and you can give the lower value tasks to somebody to help you. Otherwise, you could be the person that stops your business from growing. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely just do it. Don't overthink it. Would be my would be what I'd say.
Now that you mentioned that, I'm kind of a curious if do you think that there's a certain time on your business planning that it will be better to have a VA, because some people will maybe it's a trouble for them to start the business or to plan the business, but I will say that even in those times an extra hand will be very helpful. Not already when the project is already settled and you're starting to encounter a lot of problems that you maybe even maybe not even thought about them.
Yeah. I agree. Personally, I think you should get started a VA as soon as possible before you get really busy with millions of tasks that are happening and you haven't got time to train somebody. I think start now, and then it's just going to free up your time to do other things as well.
Yeah, true. Awesome. Thank you so much. Can you share us your social media, your website, where the people can find you if they want to maybe reach out to you?
Yeah, of course. So on Facebook, Instagram, and Clubhouse, I'm on there as Jennifer Jane Law. So yeah, have a look on there.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.